welcome to another episode of Journey. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been actually in this hot seat because we were on the Unpacking podcast last week, and then the week before we were just, all over traveling,
catching up,
doing the things. So here we are, back in the home studio. Feels good.
Back in the studio, brother.
Yeah, and hope you guys are all having a great week, month, year. It's fast moving through. I am literally in the scope of booking out our calendar next year, and it's already getting packed up. So whatever you're creating, whatever you're planning in your life, I hope you're dreaming big.
Beautiful segue.
Like that.
So we're going to be talking about dreams this week on the podcast. So we're just going to pull that thread, see what comes about, and so I suppose see if we can influence your dreams in whatever facet that may mean to you.
I got the idea from actually listening to one of Eric Godsey's podcasts, and because there's two facets. There's dreams of your life, what you dream, and then the actual dreams of, going to bed and waking up and being like, oh, well, yeah, that happened. So, I was listening to one of his podcasts, and part of his process is actually taking the interpretation and the meaning of dreams and interpreting that into your life. And I was thinking about that over the last few weeks, and I've had some pretty profound dreams in the last little while, and and for rhyme or reason, wherever they come from, what sticks, what doesn't, the changes that have impacted me in my life just from having a couple of really powerful dreams about certain different subjects and feelings and all the things. And I think that it deserves its own topic. It deserves its own. It can be so easily dismissed and be like, just dreams, it's all good, and obviously and with having a powerful sleep product that we've created as well, that's there's a couple of herbs in there that help people drop into some higher state dreams as well. So if they haven't had proper sleep, or they haven't been able to get into that REM state or that deep state sleep, and having their alpha brainwaves, drop into those alpha states to actually get into that slow rhythmic rest and sleep where they are rapid eye movement dreaming, and all of a sudden it starts freaking people out.
Yeah, totally. And so when I guess Godsey's he's looking at it from a very Freudian perspective. Where the interpretation of dreams plays a huge role on understanding someone, understanding their subconscious mind, because that's a lot of what they say dreams are. It's like the interpretation of the subconscious. Very similar place where we go with breath work, where you tap into your subconscious mind. So for people who have wild dreams, or even traumatic dreams, or even scary dreams, it's like that is just aspects of their subconscious mind coming to fruition, literally playing out. The energy of it is having an opportunity to play out in a more lucid dream state. Yeah,
lucid dreaming. There was a movie that came out in the early 2000s. I forget what it was called now, but it was a really interesting dream, a really interesting movie, and it was about lucid dreaming. And what it was is they filmed it, and then they drew over the top, so it looked like a drawing. And the whole film was like that. It was about this kid going on this journey, and he's talking to all these different people, and they're teaching him how to lucid dream, and so he would start to practice to lucid dream. But then ipso facto, he realized he was actually in the dream, and it kind of came through. It was
right?
Yeah, it was
what
a really
state is what.
Yeah, it was a really quite profound movie. I can't remember what the name of it is now. It'll come to me. But I would have been about 10 or 11 when that movie came out, and even then, I watched that with intrigue, and it was far beyond my own years of watching something. But even then, I thought there's some interesting things happening there. What is that? And even there's one particular dream that I remember having as a young kid. I must have been 4, 5, maybe, and it was in my house where I was from the age of born to 5. So I remember having this dream, and we had this dog, Kaiser, and he was a German Shepherd. And in my dream, it was like a first-person player game, and he was up on his hind legs, and he was kind of hopping, and the camera, and I was watching him from behind, and he kind of hopped in down the hallway, and he came into my room, and then I got me out of bed, and then came around and went into my parents' room. But for whatever reason, that's stuck with me for my whole entire life. I don't know why. I don't know any more of the dream. I just still have this vision of that part of the dream. It was really, interesting. But I think dreaming itself, I think it's such for me, I've gone through phases of like, having dreams and not, and geez, I reckon in my 20s when you're drinking and taking drugs, you don't dream a lot, do you? Because it just kind of knocks you out and blocks you up. But certainly now, the profundity of the dreams that stick out to me, they really stay with me, and they actually change me, which is because I allow them to change me.
But into that a little deeper, give context for the people so they can understand.
Well, I think I'm just trying to unpack it at the moment. I'll get there, but what I'm trying to work out right now is just where this is coming from. What aspect is it? Is it some sort of channeling while I'm sleeping, or is it something that's within me that's awakening, or is it a bit of both, or wherever it's going?
Could even just be a subconscious story you tell yourself. So it's like, in Freudian, he goes into that quite a lot. Like, it could be potentially an entity, if you believe in those, or like God incarnation, or it could be a story you're telling yourself around to create an association for you. Because you have this power of dreams. So it's like, for you to be able to even just give permission to step up into it, it's like, creator, boom, there it is, manifestator.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Have you ever read any of the Freudian stuff around dreams?
No, not the dream stuff from Freud. Have you?
I have read some of it because I'm interested because I don't have dreams, so I wanted to understand like what's the connection between that. Why is it that I don't often have dreams? Turns out there isn't that much of one. He didn't really land on one.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's like it's not like they happen all the time, but every now and then there'll be one that'll land. Especially that one I spoke about a few podcasts ago when I dreamt of God and walking with Jesus and all the different things, and that really was like a shifting one, because it was more feeling. I could feel that in my body. And then I had a dream a couple of weeks ago about actually my stepmom, and it wasn't even long. It was fleeting, but like for whatever reason they just land in the body, and then you wake up and you go, oh yeah, because most of them you don't remember. I'm like, you go into it and you're in it, and then you come out and you're like, oh great, it shuffles away. But yeah, I think there definitely needs to be some more depth to it, and I think for me to work things out on what they are certainly needs a little bit more of my own presence, I think, in them.
What do you mean by that? Your own presence in them?
Oh, just give some more attention, not just allowing it to be like, oh, that's a fleeting thing. And then let it go.
Yeah, for sure. Actually take some resonance to it and be like, okay, cool. This is impactful. It actually has meaning to it. Because all dreams have meaning. They all tell a story. If you look at the way in which Freud looks at it, whether you create them, whether they're created or whether they're a download from something external, there is meaning in all of it.
Oh yeah, for sure, totally. And I don't know. I mean, a lot of Freud stuff's good, but it's all very on a mind level. I don't know whether it needs to be so constricted into that aspect. I don't know. Who knows? That's why I'm here talking about it now. It's good. But it's
well, what do they mean for you then? If you are to unpack it right now, what does it mean for you? I mean, this is why we're here. This is the space we create. What does that mean for you?
What does what mean for me?
What do you think the relevance of dreams are?
What do I think the relevance of dreams are? I think they can be definitely a doorway to like an unseen or unfelt aspect of yourself that we can, what would you say, that we can not spend any attention on, because we've got so many different aspects that are taking our attention with our eyes open, So I guess that's why you wouldn't meditate. You know, there are some open-eyed meditations, but most meditations, breath work, it's all done with your eyes closed, right? So I guess this just is an aspect of when you're asleep, you know, you're just purging out from the day, and if you're an open vessel enough to be able to drop into deeper states of sleep, then it can create aspects of openness and things for you to look at and to feel, I guess. Yeah.
It's like, I suppose everything in life, it's the relevance you put on it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, they could just be fleeting, they could be not. They could be meaningful, they could be just merely a dream, you know, like a movie that's playing on, you know, something that you take on, maybe subconsciously, maybe not subconsciously. As I say, it's the perspective you put on it.
Yeah, but then you hear people who have like dreamt other languages, you know, and they've come out and they've written it, or they've dreamt a whole in place whatever here, and they've remembered it and they've written it out, you know, and it's come from nowhere, you know. It's a super interesting aspect. I mean, I guess sleep itself is just a mystery too, you know. Like there's no, like, for us to just shut down and go unconscious for however many hours, while our body does its own thing, and then
but every animal does it,
and then you have this aspect. Yeah, but does every animal dream? You know,
who knows?
Exactly.
You can ask them, but you might be able to check brainwaves. There's a potential there. Dogs, they think dogs dream, because they can bark and like run, and they'll like move their feet and move themselves. So they think they do dream. Very similar wavelength states that we go into as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I guess it just there's been some profound things from some people who have had some fucking dope dreams, and they've remembered it and they've written it out, and they've created things in the world. You know, so I don't know, what were they doing any different, or why were they chosen, or what was in them that was, you know.
So Einstein actually used to access states of creativity with lucid dreaming. So what he would do is he would carry an anvil in his hand or a weight in his hand and fall asleep in his chair, and he would have a metal plate that sat under his chair. And so it's like when you drop into those alpha brainwave states, that's when your body shuts down the most. That's when your body can access these creative realms. This is what he assumed, or knew, I suppose. And when you do that, that's when your body relaxes. So he would drop the anvil, and it would hit the metal and wake him up. And then he was able to access a state of creativity.
I've heard that before. Yeah, for sure.
So it's like there's, you know, as you say, there's so many different layers to it. But I mean, sleep, it's important, you know. 36 hours without sleep, the body starts to break down, shut down, and all of our detoxification systems slowly stop to work. So it's like it's one of the most important aspects of the self, right?
Yeah, for sure. Why do you think it is that you don't dream?
No idea. I don't really put much care into it. The fact that I don't dream every single night. I'll have like a dream that I remember, man, once, probably every 6 months. But I don't put any perception into it. You know, I could think into it as much as I have. I've tried to do dream journaling before. It didn't increase my rate of dreams like they say it should, because you're like putting conscious awareness into dreaming. So they like when you're doing dream journaling, people actually they say people start to dream more because you're putting that conscious awareness into it to drop into those states to be able to, like, you know, write about them. You know, and so even people wake up in the middle of the night, they'll write their dreams down. I did that for a period of time, and still didn't really have any more dreams.
It's interesting, yeah. Because I wonder why it happens for some people and some people doesn't.
Who knows? Who knows?
The mysteries of life.
I'm sure someone's researched.
But how do you research it?
Because they can see when people drop into different brainwave states.
So you're saying you don't drop into those brainwave states?
Well, no, you can see when they drop into the brainwave states, and then you can see different brain activity that's relative to what people are experiencing during the day. Because your brain has no difference between what's real and what's perceived. You know, it has no difference between what is thought, what is actually observed. You know, because your eyes are only connected to the brain through the octave nerve, and then that's what like then creates the image in front of you. If you have your eyes closed and visualize, it's like your brain still thinks it's seeing, right? That's how like visualization and manifestation works, because it's like you're literally creating in the moment. So it's like while you're dreaming, your brain still accesses these same like triggers. Science, man.
Is it all science though? Do you think?
No, of course not.
I don't think it is.
What do you mean by that?
I don't think it's all science, because you still sleep as much and as deep as everyone else, and if you just want to work on brainwaves, like your brainwaves would work the same as someone else who would be a lucid dreamer or whatever it is, right? So what I'm trying to, just have a discussion here about is like, why is it, or what's the ability for someone to go, I've had fucking life-changing profound dreams, I can make an impact in the world because I've dreamt something and it came out of me, versus someone like you who's like, I don't dream. Yeah, it's super interesting. It's so odd. I love it. It's so cool. And especially just in the impact of some dreams that I've had that shift the course of me. And I'm like, all right, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, different people put different relevance on different significance.
But for me, the significance is the feeling that I feel. It'd be like the feeling that I feel after a breath work.
So it's like understanding these different aspects of the self. It's like, for me, the intellectual, scientific aspect of it connects so much deeper to me. Whereas for you, you are more intuitive in the way in which you see and view the world. So it's like the relevance you put on something is relative to the person. I can still feel and see intuition, but for me, it's like I like to understand the mechanistic aspect of it simply because of the way in which my brain works. So as I say, there's only relevance. There's only perception in what you see as being relevant. Just because it's like you look at something from 5,000 years ago, they literally understood it simply because they understood it. They had time to view, observe, and see it instead of understanding it from a psychological aspect. It doesn't make it not true. It is merely just it.
That's it, man.
No?
Totally. That's it, man.
Oh, go into it.
Into what?
Into it. Like, for you, like, that intuitive aspect, like, explain that to me. How does that feel for you? Explain the way in which you view it.
Nah, I mean, like, how would I explain it to it? It'd be like, how do you explain seeing? Like it's a sense. It's like, how do I explain touch? It's a sense, How do I explain hearing something? Like it's more that aspect of it's a knowing and a feeling. It's like it's another sense. It's like, I know that's going to happen, or I know that this will happen, or I know that has some sort of significance to me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, yeah, and you go back through my human design. It's definitely it's what my gate is as well, and like reflecting on my life before I even knew that. It's like, oh, I see the points of my life where that was valid, but I had no idea that it was as well. It's a cool thing to keep sharpening. And yeah, intuition, it's a sense. That's the best way to put it, man, for sure.
Sixth sense, right?
A developed sense, yeah. But you've got to like tune into it too,
for sure.
And you've got to sharpen it, and you've got to train it up, and you've got to like give it more trust and more guidance.
The feeling of what's happening outside of the body. Yeah,
it is. And then that gets into the whole esoterical stuff. You're like, oh, okay, well, I've got to like trust things that I can't, explain. I can't, potentially measure or
intellectualize.
Yeah. That's it. And and some people would probably think I'm quite flighty for that, but doesn't matter. That's just how it is that I feel the world in, rather than just see the world in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess that's why dreams for me, although most of my life they haven't really had an impact, there's definitely some, and they're coming in more thick and fast, that are having more and more impact. And so it's just making me just ponder a little bit more and think, what am I doing different to open this? What's the changes in me, which is quite cool. So there's obviously other aspects of growth that are happening within my sense of self that you don't even know are happening, because when I shut down at night and I wake up and there's things there and I'm like, oh God, okay, all right, well there's some feeling in that. Cool. which is great.
Totally. And I think maybe for you it's actually about putting more belief in that and like trust in that, you know, just trust that that's your truth. For sure. And like own that truth.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And just because people see it in a different way or can explain it in a different way doesn't take away from your truth, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Because we go back to that book that I was reading, and it literally lays out the 7 different types of people, like the different forms of people, and the way in which they see the world, and the skill sets they have, and the connections they have between it. You know, and this is going back to Hermeticism, so this is like ancient years and years of wisdoms, and they actually like put people in different positions specifically for the way in which they interact and see the world. And no one is right or wrong, and no one is better or worse, but it's actually just about understanding that within yourself so you can utilize it, because then there's no false truths in who you are. You know, there's no shame in that. Like, I know and understand that for me, manifestation isn't a thing that I tap into. So it's like, I'm just like, I'll just leave that. It's not for me to even try to explore or understand, because it's just a waste of my time and energy. You know?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. But it's everything we just talk about, right? Just getting to understand yourself better and better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The dreams, man. What was your last big dream that you had that you remember?
Can't even remember, bro. I probably told you about some, but not like they're not in my. There's no space for them in my.
Fair enough. What about on the other aspect of like dreams of life? Because you ponder big dreams for life.
For sure, landing on what they are. Having a moment to think about this, see how I want to answer. There's definitely dreams.
It's hard to put into like an actualization, eh?
For sure. So definite dreams, but
yeah,
I don't see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't see them.
Yeah.
They don't like play out in front of me. It's not like something that's there that I can like view. They're, I guess, more like a list of things, not so much a visualization of things.
Yeah, cool.
Can be very, very left hemisphere of the brain. That's me.
Hey, look, man, the world needs some left and the world needs some right. You know, it's called balance. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see it in a visual sense. I can feel it. I can feel the thing I wanted to create.
Yeah, I can super feel it.
Yeah.
Just not visualize it. Like I can't see it like I see this room in front of me.
Yeah.
But I feel it and know truth and know what's right and like know that that's like the right thing to pursue.
Yeah.
Simply because it's like my gut just tells me either yes or no. And like it's very instant.
It's an interesting thing when I've like visualized and created a scenario of life and then my intuition will pull me away from it, and I can see where it's a very mind-created one, and then the intuition is like, no, you just gotta go this way, guy, and then that's actually who do I listen to here? What do I do? Do I go with my intuition that runs that way, or do I like keep like pushing through, like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill? You know, I need to come back down and push it back up again. Do I like go through that way? It's a fun dance, bro, and there's never right or wrong. But it's an interesting dance, and nonetheless. But I can see, like, if I've got something that I wanted to pursue, create, bring in, I can like close my eyes and I can see like an actual picture of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I see the puzzle pieces, that like pulls it together. That's like when someone explains it to me, I'm like, I can't see the thing, but I can see all of the pieces that get there, and I'm like, pull it in. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I love it.
Life, people.
Well, hey, have a tap into your own sense of self and just see how it is that you visualize. When you do dream, Do you dream in... okay, no, not even dream. When you think, do you think in images or do you think in words? Or a bit of both or none?
I think both. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely both.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in images.
Cool. How does the show itself?
There's not even an image for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just verbs, nouns. Just things in all the things.
But no, if I'm like, if I'm thinking in pictures. If I'm thinking in images.
What if you were to think about describing something? How would you see that?
How would I think about what?
How do you think about a descriptive word?
Okay. It looks like clip art.
Okay, cool. Like 1998. Everything's pixelated as fuck.
It's still a picture, but it's words, you know? Yeah. It's like I got froze on a 1999 Mac, you know? And clip art was jumping out and little... Yeah. No, that's an interesting question, that one. Because it's... I think there's definitely an aspect of people that think in one way or the other. And like colour, do you think in colour?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met this person the other day, and I wasn't specifically asking this question, but we got into the conversation of kind of how do you think, and they only think in black and white.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder how that connects to so many different things.
All right. It's fun though, eh?
It's whatever meaning you put on it, realistically.
It totally is. Humans fun, man. I love humans.
Well, there's no right way to be.
No, there's not.
There isn't, you know, and it's like just understanding your strengths, understanding the way in which you operate. Like that's the biggest thing, you know. And then if you do that, you just go all in on that. You don't try to pursue, you know, you're obviously going to want to grow different aspects of yourself, but if you're a
whale, you're never going to be a dolphin.
Yeah, 100%, you know. So why try to be a dolphin just because they get to fuck for fun?
Pleasure.
For pleasure.
You'd be a big old sperm whale, eh?
No way. No way. I'm agile. I'm too agile for that. Far too agile for that.
Nice,
that would be you.
I'm not a sperm whale.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be any sea creature.
A mammal.
Well, whales are mammals.
Well, we spoke about this the other day. You're a bear and I'm an Arctic fox, right?
Perfect. Exactly right. Well, that was named by us by one of our customers just walking by at an expo one day.
There you go.
But that does fit well.
Totally.
Agile like a fox.
I'm like Fantastic Mr. Fox, you know.
There's some cool beers, bro. There's more beers that are in kids programs than
Hey,
foxes.
Blue. Give me another picnic basket.
Absolutely. I'm just out there fucking with the ranger, just eating people's picnic baskets. Hey, boo boo bear. And he's got a nice tie on and a little grifter hat.
He's well to do.
Yeah, no pants on there.
Yeah, wow. I mean, how would a bear wear pants? It's just not going to stay up.
No, they won't.
You got to think about how big that waist is.
Think about his tie.
Yeah. Do you reckon he has a belt or do you reckon it's...
No belt.
Velcro.
I reckon that he's got one of those tie fucking extender things on. He doesn't even tie his own tie.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just clips it.
It's just one of those like things from the 80s, you know? It was like the stretch thing and it just went over your head.
Yeah.
Wild time. All right, we've rambled on enough. Thanks guys for listening. See y'all next week.
See y'all next week, everybody.